out yesterday must have come as a shock to the Congress party. Haryana was a given win as per exit polls, as per the party's internal assessment as well. But then the BJP came from behind and managed to secure a historic hat-trick in the state. While many congressmen refused to accept this mandate and blamed it on the EVMs, Rahul Gandhi said they are analysing these unexpected results and complaints will be raised with the Election Commission. In fact, we are going to be seeing a delegation of Congress leaders at the poll panel's office just a few minutes from now. But even as the Congress comes to terms with all of that, their allies are already twisting the knife and mounting pressure. This is significant given that in the next 6 months, there are at least 3 states that go to polls, and at least 2 of those states, Congress is in alliance with regional satraps who now eye a bigger share. In Jammu and Kashmir, the Congress-NC combined swept the polls, but it was amply clear that the Congress was riding on the coattails of the National Conference in this one. So not much for the Congress to celebrate there either, many would say. Now, these twin election results brought back 2 sore points for the Congress. One, that the party needs allies to climb to power in certain states. And the second, that it fails to fight as far as direct contests with the BJP is concerned. The principal opposition party finds itself in a tough spot as it faces fire from all quarters. Allies raising questions and the BJP mocking the grand old party's inability to challenge them electorally. The Prime Minister yesterday contrasted the BJP's repeat wins with the Congress's inability to retain or return to power in many states. He accused the Congress of being a parasite that's not only dependent on its alliance partners but at times even ends up swallowing them. Today, the Prime Minister once again trained his guns at the Congress party. He accused the grand old party of dividing Hindus for political gains. He said that they tried to poison society with their communal and casteist politics. Now, the Congress has dismissed that criticism, but can they also brush aside the criticism that comes from their alliance partners? The reviews of the Congress's dismal show in the Haryana elections especially are in, and the comments from the India bloc partners do not make for a pleasant reading. Let's begin with the Aam Aadmi Party. They reminded the Congress of the alliance negotiations that were taking place in Haryana, which eventually fell through. Aam Aadmi Party MP Raghav Chadha took a jab at the Congress, posting a Hindi poem on social media that translates roughly as to wondering what would have happened if the 2 parties had allied. Arvind Kejriwal, the national convener of the party too, said that this was a big lesson that never to be overconfident. Uddhav Thackeray's faction of the Shiv Sena in its editorial in the party mouthpiece Samna flayed its ally for failing to accommodate alliance partners or control the disobedience of local leaders. It's the arrogance of the state leadership that's to blame, they said. Trinamool Congress too lashed on. MP of the TMC, Saket Gokhale, called the Congress's attitude towards seat sharing. He called that out and he said that this attitude that if we feel we're winning, then we don't need the allies or we won't accommodate regional parties, that is what is disastrous and leads to electoral losses. It's a recipe for disaster, is what the TMC said. DMK too, another party that is in alliance with the Congress in a state in Tamil Nadu, they too were vocal in their criticism. At the very least, this should change the Congress's approach for the upcoming Maharashtra elections as far as seat sharing negotiations go, said the DMK. D. Raja of the CPI said that India bloc political parties will now have to do some serious introspection as to why there was no mutual trust between each other, especially at the time of these seat sharing negotiations. Now, for the past decade, the Congress's key electoral goal has been to improve its position and strike rate specifically in the heartland states or the northern states when it comes in direct contest with the BJP. Last year, it lost Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. In 2022, it won Himachal Pradesh while the BJP won Uttarakhand. Now, here's what the Congress's performance looks like in direct fights across the state. Rajasthan, they contested 199 seats, they won 70, their strike rate was about 35%, the vote share was at 39.7%, which is about 40%, they lost the state there. Chhattisgarh, another state that they lost, the strike rate was only 39%, they won 35 of the 90 states that they had contested, they went solo in both of these states, didn't want any allies, they fought in direct contest with the BJP. Moving on to another state where the Congress seems to have faltered, and that's Madhya Pradesh. Their strike rate was only 29%. They contested 230 seats but won only 66 of them, with the BJP coming back to power in Madhya Pradesh with a resounding victory. Another state where the Congress this time won, which was Karnataka. They had a strike rate of 60. Here too, they fought solo, but they managed to win 135 seats out of 223. Their vote share was well above 40% as well. This is a state that they won, remember, recently. Himachal Pradesh, another state that the Congress did manage to win. There too, their strike rate was close to 60% with about 44% vote share. So, is it just a pattern in certain states where they cannot really take on the BJP in direct fights, or is this something that they really have to give it a thought? That's something for the Congress party to decide. Gujarat, another state which has been seen as a BJP bastion, there too, their strike rate was abysmal, not even 10%. They contested 179 seats, they won only 17 of them. Their vote share too was just about 28%. Now, the BJP may have retained Gujarat for a long time, but the Congress is not a non-entity in that state. They thought this was their election to win the recently concluded one, but that wasn't the case. Goa too, their strike rate was 30%. They won 11 seats out of 37. The BJP managed to trump the Congress party in that state as well. So what exactly is going to be the Congress's strategy when it comes to direct fights against the BJP? Uttarakhand, another state where the BJP returned to power recently. 27% was the strike rate of the Congress party. They won only 19 of the 70 seats that they contested, and they were locked in a direct battle with the BJP. No alliance partners to ride on with. Uttar Pradesh. This perhaps is the worst performance of the Congress party as far as assembly elections go. 0.5% was their strike rate. They won only 2 seats. But look at the seats that they contested. This is also where another alliance partner, another India bloc partner, the Samajwadi Party, was in the fray as far as the fight goes. Punjab, they won 18 seats out of 117. Their strike rate was about 15%. This too is a state where the Congress was confident that they would come to power, but the Aam Aadmi Party trumped them. Now, the BJP is a non-entity, many would say, as far as Punjab goes, but when it did come to the Aam Aadmi Party, who now they're in alliance with at the national level, that's where the Congress lost out. Other states that we speak of is the national capital, Delhi, which is going to elections in less than 6 months from now. Look at that strike rate there. They contested 66 seats. They gave 4 seats to another partner, the RJD, but they come up with duck. 0 seats, not even one that the Congress managed the last time around when Delhi went to polls. So in certain states, they need allies. In certain states, they snub those allies. It looks like the Congress is facing fire from all sides. The BJP, the Prime Minister himself and the alliance partners are all now putting the Congress party in a tight spot. Stumped as they may be, do they have any answers? That's what we ask on Plain Speak tonight.
हमारा अनुमान है कि 12-14 सीटें ऐसे हैं जहां गंभीर, इससे भी ज्यादा हो सकती।
कांग्रेस इस प्रकार का वातावरण बना रही थी, झूठ का बवंडर खड़ा कर रही थी कि हम सत्ता के अंदर आ गए।
हिंदू समाज को तोड़कर उसे अपनी जीत का फॉर्मूला बनाना, यही कांग्रेस की राजनीति का आधार है।
कांग्रेस को थोड़ा सा तो गहराई में जाके सोचना होगा, लेकिन वो मेरा काम नहीं है। मेरा काम यहाँ पे जम्मू कश्मीर नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को चलाना है और अलायंस की मदद करना है, जो मैं करूँगा।
These election results are a big learning for all of us. It has taught us several lessons, and one of the foremost lessons that has been learned, perhaps even by the Congress party, is that overconfidence is not good.
कांग्रेस तो जीत रही थी, ऐसी कोई व्यक्ति नहीं मुझे मिली देश में कि जो बोल रही थी, या पत्रकार हो या कि बीजेपी आ रही है, लेकिन बीजेपी आ गई। उनकी एक यंत्रणा है, उनका एक सिस्टम है, उनका एक मैनेजमेंट है, उनको मानना पड़ेगा।
Let's open this up. Shaina NC, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us. Saral Patel, spokesperson of the Congress, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Anmol Panwar is with us. C.S. Jha, leader of the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav faction, and JVC Sriram, a psephologist, is with us. Now, let me open this up by asking the Congress spokesperson first. Saral Patel, every alliance partner today seems to be questioning what Congress brings to the table.
Message, the narrative, and the strength of the core vote share of the Congress party. Very respectfully, Mr. Abdullah, I saw his statement just now on his on your clip. he was reminding Congress party of the soul searching and so on and so forth. As a respectful alliance partner, we would not like to question that just 6 months back he lost his Lok Sabha. Despite that, Congress party, in the interest of Jammu and Kashmir, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, we conceded the large number of seats in Kashmir Valley to our alliance partner to defeat the BJP and to bring about the change in the Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. But it seems that we have followed the coalition dharma, but some of our alliance partner, they are not following the coalition dharma, because coalition dharma conducts and directs that any discussion that should happen amongst the alliance, it should happen not on public forum, it should happen privately.
Sure, but it's not just Omar Abdullah, and you may say that you conceded a large number of seats to the NC as far as Jammu and Kashmir goes, but look at the results. Look at your strike rate in Jammu and Kashmir. Had it not been for NC pulling its weight, you wouldn't have been able to win Jammu and Kashmir either.
Not at all. Without the Bharat Jodo Yatra, without the message of peace and unity of Sri Rahul Gandhi ji, from which he walked from Kashmir, Kanyakumari to Kashmir, the Kashmir, the sentiment of Kashmir would not have galvanized, and it would have not have resulted in this verdict that we saw yesterday. So yes, there were shortcomings on our parts as far as Jammu is concerned. That introspection will definitely be there. But for NC to claim that this number of seats in Kashmir, they won just because of their machinery, their narrative, and their campaign is not acceptable. Congress party had a major role to play in building that atmosphere, which helped the NC, and that is why we have alliance. That is why one party brings something to the table, the other ones also does, and that is why how alliances are made, and that is what has helped NC.
Sure, but it's not just the NC that would differ from you there. I want to get in your other alliance partner as well. And CS Jah, Maharashtra goes to polls in a month and a half or perhaps 2 months. Now, with what we've seen as far as the Congress party goes, would the Uddhav Sena and the Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP seek a greater share? Can the Congress still continue to have that bargaining power that they have in Maharashtra?
Bargaining or not bargaining is to be decided between the alliances and in their meetings. But the thing is that the rethink of the strategy is required, because what has happened in Haryana should not be repeated in other states. Otherwise, the whole purpose of the alliance will fall down. And eventually, the thing which has happened in Haryana, it was an internal conflict in party, and this thing should not continue. And that is why the major setback for Congress is that they cannot control their respective party members, and that is why they are on a losing spree. Otherwise, the alliance, which is also India Alliance, which has contested in Lok Sabha election, you see the results. The results have come definitely in a confident manner, and the BJP has got setback in the Lok Sabha, and they had to rely upon the other alliance partners in NDA, and that is the main reasons that we should not be overconfident. We should be confident, and we should face the elections on ground. And each state has their own criteria of things to be decided. So accordingly, we should move, and we should combinedly move, and we should defeat the other part, BJP, and we should do elections on ground level. We should see the public convenience. We should see the infrastructure works which have been done by the government. All these things have to be combined, and the strategy has to be formulated, how to fight the elections and how to defeat them.
Anmol Panwar, as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, Delhi is where you don't want to concede anything to the Congress. You've made that very clear. And Delhi elections are going to be held sometime in January or February, which is not too far away as well. But as far as Haryana is concerned, it was interesting the comments that came to the fore from the Aam Aadmi Party, from one of your members of parliament as well, that if there was an alliance perhaps of the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress, perhaps the results would have gone another way.
Poonamji, we saw that the vote percentage of both the Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party was almost same. And Aam Aadmi Party got 2% vote. And as you saw that in Lok Sabha elections, when we fought together, the BJP's seat decreased from 10 to 5. And the alliance got a vote percentage around 47%. So, had there been alliance, had there been a positive signal from the Congress side, then certainly the results would have been different. And it was the delay on the part of the Congress, and perhaps they were overconfident. That is why this alliance couldn't materialize on time.
Overconfidence, arrogance, Salal Patel, is what many of your allies have publicly said. You may not want to discuss this publicly. You may want them to talk to you privately. But many of them have also said that privately you don't listen, which is why you get the results like you did yesterday. But Shaina NC, as far as the BJP is concerned, and as far as Haryana goes, the Congress says there's something fishy. The exit poll says Haryana was a given win for the Congress party. Their internal assessment said the same. They also say that many within the BJP also had conceded defeat until what happened yesterday. So there has to be some sort of gadbad as far as EVMs are concerned, because otherwise this result couldn't have happened.
Absolute nonsense. EVM tampering is the most convenient excuse every time the opposition loses. If they lose, they say EVM tampering. If they win, they say it's the mandate of the people. Now, we all know that in 2024, how the exit polls were not exact polls. Likewise, we saw now. So let's not come up with lame excuses. The fact is, this is a mandate of the people of Haryana, and it is history, because winning 50 seats is not normal. It is absolutely extraordinary, and there was no anti-incumbency, there was pro-incumbency. Why do you have pro-incumbency? When you give MSP to 24 crops, when the farmers are happy and their income has doubled from 2012 to 24, when youngsters are given apprenticeship schemes and they are given the chance to go for internships, when you have women who are benefiting through Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or Jan Dhan or Mudra Banking or Ujjwala, these are schemes that percolate down to the poorest of poor. And this was not about Jat versus non-Jat, OBC, Dalit, all these excuses that the Congress has. Congress needs actually to soul search. You have Mr. Sanjay Raut today saying that the Congress is not in a position to even accept this defeat. They must be actually apologetic about it. You have Trinamool Congress making a comment. You have AAP saying how unhappy they are. So I'm not here to sit on political commentary, but I'm clearly here to speak for my party, and my party has done well based on the good work of Prime Minister Modi, based on the Labharti schemes that have percolated down to the poorest of poor, and the fact that eventually in a democracy, we can sit in TV debates, debating on what was the vote share, who was a spoiler, what was the permutation combination. Of course, every political party is entitled to strategy, but the mandate of the voter, the mandate of the people who decide, this is what we should be debating on.
JVC Sriram, the mandate of the people is clear, but it looks like the Congress has not made peace with it, which is also why they're knocking on the doors of the Election Commission. But speaking of the Congress being the principal opposition party, playing the big brother sort of role as far as the India alliance goes, or the India bloc goes, do you think that they can continue to maintain that?
Good evening, Poonam, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I think Congress party needs to come to terms with the election results, because when they won in Himachal Pradesh, the EVM were fine. When they won in Karnataka and Telangana, the EVM were fine. And suddenly they come about all these things. And today I think I'm glad that the Election Commission has invited delegates from the Congress party for a meeting, because they say that these are unfounded. Because you need to understand, every time, because I couldn't travel to Haryana because of my health condition, but I can tell you, when the entire country, the psephologists said Chhattisgarh is going the Congress way, I had been there extensively, and I found that when people were asked who is forming the government, they said Congress is forming the government. But when most of the people were asked whom are you going to vote, they said probably they're going to vote for BJP. And that is the reason why one of the psephologists who came out and said Chhattisgarh is going BJP way was myself. I said 48 to 52 seats. So even Haryana result, let us microscopically analyze, because one thing I would always look at it is in terms of the margin of victories. There are 8 seats where the margin was less than 2,000. How many seats Congress scraped through? 5. How many BJP scraped through? 2. INLD 1. And let's look at the other side. 40,000 seats, 88 seats again were won by over 40,000 margin in a small state called Haryana. How many seats did BJP win with a huge margin? 5. How many seats did Congress win? 3. What were those seats? 2 seats which were in minority lying area. I don't want to say the names, you all know it. One was over 98,000, another was over 42,000, another was Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Now, when the writing is clearly on the wall, when your indie partners themselves are questioning, from your alliance partner in Jammu and Kashmir to that of probably your partner who contested along with you in Haryana Lok Sabha election and Delhi Lok Sabha election, Aam Aadmi Party, your potential ally Shiv Sena, UBT, and Mamta Banerjee, who else has to come and tell them? Now they need to understand that Congress, when it is locked in a straight fight with BJP, as you mentioned, I do not have to tell what is the strike rate. The whole world knows what's the strike rate. Congress needs allies to hold them on its feet. That is what you see somewhere in a state like Tamil Nadu, and that is what you see somewhere in a state like Jharkhand. And even in Uttar Pradesh, without Samajwadi Party, you know what happened. And Samajwadi Party also knew what happened when they had an alliance with Congress Party in 2017. So the bottom line of the story is Congress needs to come to terms with the reality. The reality is they cannot keep speaking about something like Adani and saying that he is taking away your jobs when crores of people have been given mudra loans, when 65 lakh people have been given street vendor loan, and Rahul Gandhi has the audacity to say, I will open Jalebi factory. And now the people of Haryana have shown to Mr. Rahul Gandhi that we might as well vote for a semiconductor factory, and we know what kind of jalebi shops are set up and how Mr. Modi has been helping us, and we do not want your jalebi factory, and I don't know where Mr. Rahul Gandhi is as on date. So the bottom line I would like to conclude is that as long as Congress turns a Nelson eye towards people's mandate, Congress will continue to suffer, and we are going to see the same in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Because Maharashtra is something I'm not telling today, I've been telling from July 1st, 2024, that Maharashtra is going to shock and surprise everyone, including the NBA. Thank you very much.
Saral Patel, Maharashtra could go the way that we are seeing Haryana go. Is that what is going to happen if the Congress does not listen to its two alliance partners in the state? Because as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned, Congress's performance in the last 3 assembly elections, your seat share has reduced, your vote share has reduced, your strike rate, many would say the less we speak about that, the better.
Poonam, before I respond to your question, let me first answer the question. Let me say 2 things to the psephologists here who is posing. The BJP spokesperson and Adani spokesperson who is posing as a psephologist on the debate.
Okay, let's not take personal pot shots at anyone, please.
Number one.
Let's try and keep it civil. Respond to the allegations that were made against you. But let's not take personal pot shots against anyone.
The direct conversation, the direct contest that happened in Karnataka, that happened between BJP and the Congress party, and BJP lost fair and square. Congress party won by 156. So, which was unprecedented, which no one else predicted, no psephologist of the country predicted, number one. Number two, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, your question, if you look at the recent Lok Sabha election results, within the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, Congress party is the largest party. We contested on 17 seats, we have won 13 Lok Sabhas, which is more than BJP's 9 Lok Sabhas. NCP contested 10 Lok Sabhas, NCP won 8. Shiv Sena UBT contested 21 Lok Sabhas, they've won 9. So Congress party in MVA and in Maharashtra is the single largest party, and we got the most number of vote share in the Maharashtra. So every state is different. You can't take a state result of a random state and then juxtapose that with the other state and say that based on the performance of the Congress party in some other state, the seat sharing should be decided in Maharashtra and so on and so forth. So, of course, unlike the panel, I'm sure the leaders of all three parties of Maharashtra Vikas Agadi, they will take a politically sharp call. They will take a acceptable and respectable decision, which all the allies and all the alliance partners will abide by in Maharashtra.
CS Jha, is this something
May I
that your
please come
leadership,
in?
Shaina and say I'll get you in, but CS Jha, is this something that your leadership would be okay with? Because the Congress believes that out of the three alliance partners in Maharashtra, they've performed the best as far as the last Lok Sabha election goes, which is why they should continue to be the big brother in the alliance.
See, whether they will be big brother or not, that is to be decided in an alliance meeting, and that is to be decided when the future elections will be declared. Let us not go into that. The thing is, right now, is that the Haryana elections have suggested Congress that they should not be overconfident and they should work on it. And eventually, the alliance partners who are in the other states are working accordingly. They don't have any problem into alliance, but they should not think that they can contest without any participation of their regional partners, and they should not be overconfident. They should not go beyond their jurisdictions. They should not act arbitrarily, and they should compromise the situation in other states and strategically go for vote, and the results will be out there, and they should not be fearful of that.
Interesting, Saral Patel. You said you can't put a random states analogy in your words to another state, but your alliance partners, and not just Mr. C.S. Jha, but many of your alliance partners believe that this is exactly the kind of analogy that should be used and lessons should be learned. But Shaina NC, you had a point to make. Go ahead.
I have 2 points to make. Number one, that gone are the days of vote bank politics. So, for all these parties that are trying to analyze and look at it objectively, I would only want to say there are 4 vote banks. That is the women, the youth, the senior citizens, and of course, the people who are underprivileged and the farmers. If Bharatiya Janata Party has worked on ground on all these 4 avenues, crores and crores of Labhartis have benefited. The infrastructure projects that you have seen pan India, I think we are here to stay, because the fact that you have history repeating itself for the Congress, where they are repeating the same blunders they do election after election, we learn from every election. Today, whether it is an RSS Karyakarta or a Bharatiya Janata Party Karyakarta, they are on ground understanding what the voter wants, what the voter needs, and complying to that. And that is why we have these 4 vote banks that have been supporting Prime Minister Modi election after election. Having said that, I'm not here to sermonize on what alliance politics the Congress should and if any allies are even left at all, looking at the kind of comments that all their allies have made, there's a lot of soul searching required. But having said that, you keep talking about Maharashtra. I want to say the development work which has been done by the Mahayuti, if you take a city like Mumbai, whether it's the coastal road, the metros, the infrastructure, the Nava Sheva link, the Atal Setu, the list is endless. These impact lives. If you talk about rural economies, the Ladli Behna Yojana, where 2.5 crore youngsters, girls, are getting 1,500 in their bank account and are empowered on their individual platforms to create any livelihood of their choice. You take the internship schemes, these are all novel concepts, skill development. So I am clear that Maharashtra, we will win on our track record and the good work done. You will never hear a comment by Eknath Shinde or Devendra Fadnavis, or for that matter Ajit Pawar, which is out of line or out of sync. Look at the kind of hypocrisy and the comedy on the opposite side. You have Sanjay Raut and Uddhav Thackeray taking on Congress. You have one talking about the other. You have the AAP speaking. You have the TMC speaking, and whatever is left of the Congress party. So if they need to rethink strategy, it should start with a vision plan, because if you go into an election and have no vision plan, trust me, the
But
voter
Shaina,
will
I
only
don't
vote
think
for
the
Prime
Congress
Minister
believes
Modi
they
and the
have a
BJP.
problem. And Ms. Panwar, that is an issue that a lot of alliance
luck to
partners
them.
have raised, including the Aam Aadmi Party.
On a funny note, Poonam, all the laddus and jalebis that they made to celebrate Haryana, they should probably distribute to BJP karyakartas.
Sure, and we've seen the kind of fun that the BJP has had as far as jalebis go as well in the last 12 to 16 hours. But Anmol Panwar, coming back to the Aam Aadmi Party and to alliance partners, the Congress believes that we don't have a problem. That yes, we may lose some elections, but that's what democracy is about. You win some, you lose some. And the Aam Aadmi Party too has lost, and lost terribly in certain states where they thought they could expand their leadership or their footprint. So the Aam Aadmi Party is not one to lecture the Congress, is what many within the grand old party believe.
Poonamji, what is of paramount importance is the welfare of the people. And aligning with the aspirations of people of Haryana, we attempted to forge an alliance because they are fed up with the misrule of BJP, with the kind of corruption, with the kind of deceit they did in the last decade. Because winning an election is not an endorsement of the policies. And what Shaina ji said, they have not given MSP to the farmers. We all saw what happened at Jantar Mantar, the pride of our nation, the wrestler. They were beaten by the central government's BJP, Delhi police, and we also are aware of the fact.
That's the plank, the Kisan Pahalwan plank is what the Congress fought on, but it didn't seem to have resonated.
We are also aware of the fact that Haryana is number one as far as unemployment is concerned in our country. Because, see, they created an uneven level playing field. They put our leaders behind bars. Aam Aadmi Party is the only party who have decimated Bharatiya Janata Party in Delhi and Punjab. And they were afraid of our governance model. That is why they ensured that our leaders did not have sufficient time to campaign in the elections. Our leaders were kept behind bars for almost 1 year, whether it is Mr. Sisodia, whether it is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Had they been outside, if we had sufficient time to campaign, then results would have certainly be different.
The Aam Aadmi Party has 0 seats and 2% vote share, like you said, in Haryana. Perhaps all that the Aam Aadmi Party did was cut votes for the Congress Party.
Let me give you some data. BJP was formed in 1980 and it took them 44 years to achieve electoral success on their own.
Sure.
They have failed to return to power in Delhi in last 27 years. And in sharp contrast, Aam Aadmi Party secured a historic mandate just after 3 years of its formation.
Sure, and nobody is denying the kind of work or the kind of electoral performance the Aam Aadmi Party has shown as far as Delhi goes. But we're talking about Haryana.
I need 10 seconds. In Punjab, BJP has never managed to form a government independently. And AAP secured an overwhelming majority within 10 years. And that is one of the reasons we have elected representatives in 5 state assemblies of India within a span of just over 10 years.
Sure.
And this swift rise of Aam Aadmi Party is what is a significant threat to Bharatiya Janata Party. So 44 साल में जो ये हासिल नहीं कर पाए वो हमने 3
does
साल
or
में
does
हासिल
not
किया
do as far as his direct fight against the BJP is concerned was not the question I was asking you. As far as Haryana went and as far as alliance talks go with the Congress and everybody else involved, are alliance partners within the India bloc just eating into each other's vote share when they don't come together or pull the other person down? That's really the debate where this was going, because that's what many of the alliance partners of the Congress now believe after yesterday's results. How the Congress takes this forward, what is the strategy, rethink if there is any at all, that we'll have to wait and watch, because Maharashtra elections are just around the corner. Jharkhand will happen later this year as well, and Delhi, of course, coming up in about 4 months or so. Can the Congress course correct? Do they want to course correct? That's another question, and that, of course, the leadership will decide. Until then, the political fireworks will continue, but I have to leave it at that. I thank you all for joining us here on this broadcast and sharing your perspective. Slipping into a quick break on this edition, but on the other side, we'll get you a quick ready reckoner of why there's so much hullabaloo by the Congress over EVM tampering. That's an allegation that they've made multiple times in the past that came to the fore yesterday after Haryana results as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll clear the picture for you.
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deeper into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced, and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
Thank you for staying with us. The Congress party has opened a new can of worms after the crushing defeat in Haryana. In a press conference yesterday, as it became clear that the Congress is losing the state, Congress leaders Jairam Ramesh and Pawan Khera claimed that EVM tampering was very much present, which is why they cannot accept the mandate in Haryana. In fact, now we see them knocking on the doors of the Election Commission. They've just about met with the EC and come out after making their claims of how there were batteries of the EVMs that were tampered with. Jairam Ramesh said that the party had received serious complaints regarding the counting process from at least 3 districts where 10 to 12 assembly seats were affected in Haryana. The Congress has made that claim that wherever EVM battery was 99%, the BJP won, while where the battery was less than 70%, the Congress won. The Congress called this a conspiracy, but the Election Commission, in a letter to Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge, called these allegations unprecedented. They're an undemocratic rejection of the will of the people, said the poll panel. So what exactly is this controversy? Let's first tell you how these batteries actually work in the EVMs. They run on alkaline batteries for areas without power. The control unit has a power pack of 7.5 or 8 volts. The VVPAT unit has its own power pack of about 22.5 volts. EVM batteries are made by 2 PSUs, Bharat Electronics and Electronics Corporation of India. Now, talking about this 99% charge allegation from the Congress, the display shows 99% charge till battery potential is between 7.4 and 8 volts. When potential falls below 7.4 volts, the actual charge level is displayed. Now, when that battery reaches about 5.8 volts, display unit indicates that there is a change of battery. Now, there is a whole procedure to change the batteries. It's not one that can be done unilaterally. A new battery is installed during first level checking. This is done before elections. Political parties are informed about this before any change happens. There is a mock poll that is held on the day of the elections in presence of polling agents as well. This battery has to be changed if the level dips during polling. Signatures of polling agents have to be taken for replacement or resale of this battery as well. This report is then submitted at the end of polling with signatures of all polling agents. So why is the Congress crying foul? Let's listen in to what they told the Election Commission.
13 और हैं जो शिकायतें आ रही हैं और वो भी हम अगले 48 घंटे में दे देंगे। इससे पहले छत्तीसगढ़ का भी पूरा मसला जो राजनांदगांव है, अलग कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज हैं, वो भी इसी तरह की कंप्लेंट्स थी, उसका भी हमने इन्हें फिर से स्मरण कराया।
लेकिन पवन जी, जिस तरह जैसा आपने कहा कि छत्तीसगढ़ की भी ऐसी
उदयभान जी पूरा जिस तरह से पवन खेड़ा जी ने बताया, सारा इलेक्शन कमीशन के सामने सारे हमने मुद्दे रखे हैं कि किस तरह से ईवीएम हैक की गई है। मुख्यमंत्री ने खुद ने कहा कि सारी व्यवस्थाएं हर तरह से हर किस्म की हो चुकी हैं और हम सरकार बनाएंगे। तो ये पूरा एक संदेह का सारे प्रदेश में एक बहुत बड़ा एक संदेह हो रहा है। और जिस तरह से 99% बैटरी हो नहीं सकती जो उसमें हुई है, वो एक बहुत बड़ा संदेह का कारण बना हुआ है कि ये ईवीएम इसमें हैक हुई है। जो 99%, 95%, 90 से जो अबव है, उनमें सबसे ज़्यादा उनमें ही बीजेपी का सारा हुआ है। जहाँ 60 से 70% है, वहाँ पे ये नहीं जीत रहे। तो ये एक पूरा संदेह का कारण बना हुआ है कि ये कारण क्या है और ये 99% कैसे बैटरी चार्ज हो गई। जब पूरा दिन बैटरी इस्तेमाल होती है, कोई भी आप मोबाइल के रखें तो पूरा दिन आप रखोगे तो वो निश्चित तौर से वो डाउन होगी। 99% नहीं हो सकती किसी भी सूरत में। ये पूरा संदेह का कारण बना हुआ है। उसके बारे में हमने इलेक्शन कमीशन से कहा है, इलेक्शन कमीशन की ये साख का भी सवाल है, इस चीज़ को क्लियर करें कि क्या कारण है और हमें पूरे जनता के समक्ष इस बात को रखें कि इसका क्या कारण है। ये पूरा संदेह का और वीवीपैट की पर्चियाँ मिलान करने के लिए आरओ को बहुत सारी विधानसभा में कहा गया, लेकिन आरओ ने उस चीज़ को स्वीकार नहीं किया और वीवीपैट की पर्चियाँ नहीं मिलाई उस मशीन के साथ में। एक ये बहुत बड़ा कारण है कि वीवीपैट की पर्चियाँ हम ये चाहते हैं, हमने कहा कि वीवीपैट की पर्चियों का मिलान करें जिससे दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो सके।
हुड्डा जी बोलेंगे।
देखिए, आप भी थे, पूरा देश इस बात में आज संदेह है और ये जो नतीजा है हरियाणा का आश्चर्यचकित करने वाला है, क्योंकि हर आदमी समझता था कि हरियाणा में कांग्रेस सरकार बनाने जा रही है। चाहे आप मीडिया के आदमी हो, चाहे आपके एक्सपर्ट हो, चाहे आईबी हो, चाहे कोई भी एजेंसी हो, सबकी ये रिपोर्ट सर्वे सारे सर्वे ये आए थे। लेकिन ये हुआ, पोस्टल बैलेट की गिनती शुरू होती है तो हर जगह कांग्रेस लीड करती है। ईवीएम की शुरू होती है तो कांग्रेस लीड करती है। डाउट क्रिएट किए हैं बहुत सारी, जैसे कंप्लेंट है 30 के करीब है, बहुत सारी तो रिटर्न कंप्लेंट आ गई है और वर्बली बहुत आए हैं सबकी। हमारे पास टेलीफोन आया जब काउंटिंग हो रही थी, कई जगह काउंटिंग डिले की गई है, कई जगह ये कहा गया बार बार पोस्टल बैलेट पहले गिनती कीजिए, लेकिन कई जगह नहीं की गई, बाद में की गई। ऐसे कई कंप्लेंट्स हमें दी है और इलेक्शन कमीशन ने अश्योर किया, वो सारे कंप्लेंट देख रहे हैं। और
हुड्डा साहब, ये तो इसी से शिकायत आप लोगों की हुई है, लेकिन अगर इस आप लोगों की जो शिकायत है उसको अगर खत्म नहीं किया गया तो आगे क्या रुख रहेगा कांग्रेस पार्टी का? क्योंकि छत्तीसगढ़ भी आप इसी तरह कह रहे हैं।
इलेक्शन कमीशन का रेस्पॉन्स उसके बाद बताएंगे आप।
और शैलजा जी क्यों नहीं आई?
धन्यवाद।
The Congress there taking their fight to the Election Commission. It will be interesting to see how the poll panel responds. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on this edition of Plain Speak. But for now, time for a quick break.
Lights!
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it's pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets, and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced, and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
If you look at the top band, let's just look at the leads. BJP for the first time in Haryana in lead. For the first time, the BJP is leading in Haryana. At 9:53 a.m. for the first time in Haryana, the BJP is touching the 46 number. They've got the magic number in Haryana for the first time.
Lights!
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it's pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets, and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced, and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
محرم الدوليين يستعملون المدنيين ولا الأطفال والأولاد.
It's been 2 months today to the rape and murder of a junior doctor at RGKR Medical College in Kolkata. The tremors are still being felt there. Junior doctors have begun their hunger strike. They've been on it since Saturday, demanding justice for their colleague. They also want action against an alleged corruption threat syndicate, campus democracy and a patient-friendly system. In a show of massive support for these protesting junior doctors, senior faculty at RGKR Medical College, at least 50 of them resigned. About 60 doctors from Kolkata Medical College too quit, and they put the onus on the state government to comply with their demands. Now, the West Bengal Chief Secretary assured that 90% of the ongoing projects at all of these colleges would be completed by next month. He also urged the protesting doctors to return to work, but that appeal has been shunned by these doctors. Dr. Tapas Pramanik now joins us live. He's one of those doctors from RGKR who have resigned. Dr. Pramanik, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. You are one of the many people that have resigned from RGKR. Now we have doctors from other colleges that have resigned as well. Why exactly have you done it, if you could tell us?
Actually, there are 7 junior students, that is senior resident and postgraduate trainee. They are doing the hunger strike at Dharmatala Mons in for some demand from the government side. But there is no such action has been taken from the government side. There is no positive response from them. That's why we are the senior faculties and the service doctor are resigned and demanded from the government that they have to come and they have to come a conclusion for a reconciliation with the junior doctors.
Sure. Now, those demands that the junior doctors have put out, they are out in public domain. Justice for Abhaya is, of course, top priority. But there are several other demands that were made as well, including higher security for junior staff or female staff across hospitals. Now, speaking of Abhaya, I am given to understand that on duty that night when this horrific crime took place. The CBI charge sheet has also mentioned how there was a delay in autopsy. If you could tell us what exactly happened, if you saw anything, how was it that you found out about what had happened?
I was informed by a group message at around 11:45 that an incident has been happened in the last night in RGKR Medical College. Chase department, which is present in the third floor of the casualty block. And after hearing this incident, I was stunned and shocked. And by the time I called my colleague and few staff of our emergency, and I had a lot of things I can't disclose in open media, but there are a lot of controversy after that, and I raised my voice few loopholes from the civil administration and from the police administration. Number one, the postmortem has been happened in the RG My logic is the incident has been happened in the RG Medical College. That means the place of occurrence is RG Medical College. So postmortem should be done in the another medical college except RG Medical College. On that day, the principal Shundip Ghosh issued an order that the postmortem can be happened in the RG Medical College or NRS Medical College. But at the end of the day, the postmortem has been happened in the RG Medical College. I think this is not fair. After that, the postmortem has been happened after the sunset. Postmortem can be done after the sunset. In few exceptional circumstances, whenever the law and order is deteriorated, but you have to take some permission from appropriate authority. But the postmortem has been done by recommendation a subordinate authority, most likely by recommendation of the assistant sub-inspector.
Right. So several of those procedures were not adhered to is the allegation that the junior doctors have also been making. That's an allegation that you make as well. But the kind of response that has come to the fore from the TMC, right from when the protest began, even now, the TMC, even today, the resignation that we see of all of you doctors, this is nothing but drama, is what one of the leaders of the TMC, Kunal Ghosh, came out and said.
I already responded on his comment. I want to resign. This time, my personal resignation is about 8 times. I have already submitted, and this time is 8 times my resignation. I don't want to further continue under this government. This is an emergency situation. Our junior.
So doctors don't want to work under this current administration in West Bengal is what they say. How the state responds to this as it spirals out of control, we'll keep a track of that. But it's a wrap from my side here on this edition of Plain Speak. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Lights.
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it's pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets, and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced, and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
والمدنيين والأطفال المولودين.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. Now, after a very spirited comeback in the Lok Sabha elections in 2024, the opposition or the INDIA bloc thought of continuing the momentum with Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir, and had the results in both Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir gone their way, then all across North India would have been opposition-driven governments except for Uttarakhand. Well, an upbeat Congress